Everyone says that flashing the Tenere 700's ECU wakes the bike up, but how much difference does it really make? Today I'm going through the setup of my T7 with the full system, the open air filter and the ECU mapping, of course. I will also show some numbers that makes it easier to understand the difference between a modified T7 with the ECU Flash and unmodified, so you can get the difference in the mid-range. We're also discussing if it will be warranty issues now with the ECU Flash and my thoughts on the warranty in general. Hi, my name is Johan. I'm all about adventure bikes, travel and making our bikes perform better without complicating it. And yeah, I'm also trying to build a bit of a community here where you can share your thoughts high and low, so subscribe to come along. Now let's start with the upgrades that is down here. Let's start with the exhaust. It's a Dominator full system and the slip-on is called HP6 and I really like the sound. I will put in a video on how the sound is. It was easy install. Really like that they even have a logo here engraved in metal that says Dominator. And you get a O2 sensor extension. Really easy to just plug and play into the original sensor that is up here. And the headers were also easy to install. I just have some tips regarding the flanges, because the flanges were softer than on the OEM headers, so you can't torque them down according to the OEM specs, so just go by feel. I actually bent them too far, so I had to remove them and bend them back, but you live and learn. I also run the dB killer. I think it's a medium they give to this exhaust, but I don't think it's too loud, but I will discuss that later in the video also. And now over to the air filter. I run a TwinAir prefilter, as you can see here. And underneath here I have a UniFilter. I will give some pictures on how that look. And I think it's really nice to have a prefilter, because then this will take all the dust. And you can just put that in a cleaning bucket and clean it. And the main filter will always be clean. Then I just have to clean the main filter once or twice per season. And also it's really nice that I have a spare TwinAir prefilter, the foam. So I can just put that when I travel for long distances. I can just put the extra one put on whenever this is super dirty. And yeah, an extra tip here is also to grease the edges where you put on both the UniFilter and the TwinAir prefilter. So you grease the edges to the airbox, which will seal it better. And the guys from the UniFilter actually wrote that in the description on how to install it. So that's the way to do it, I think. The guys that did my ECU Flash actually told me that just having the TwinAir prefilter makes the bike breathe like 170% more. So if you just use that without the ECU Flash, you can actually burn your top end. So don't do that. And then we have the last piece of the puzzle, which is the ECU Flash. And I did my ECU Flash at the Yamaha Center in Helsingborg. And they are the ones I leave my Tenere 700 also when I do services and so on. So that feels great that they did it. And it costs around 500 euros. And then I just told them that I have a full system and open air filter, and they put a map out for that. So I didn't do dynos and so on. So there are probably others that can do your ECU mapping or flashing. But this works great for me. And it feels good that it's on a Yamaha dealer also. And yeah, what does all this cost? I've written it down so I don't forget. We have cost for exhaust was like 700 euros, and that's both for the headers and the slip-on. And then we have 300 euros for the UniFilter and the TwinAir prefilter. And then we have around 500 euros for the ECU Flash. So that sums up to 1,500 euros. So $1,500 approximately. So just a little bit more than a Akapovic slip-on, and that's kind of crazy. But so my full system of ECU Flash, exhaust and so on is just a little bit more than a slip-on from Akra. But if you set aside the cost, is it worth doing it? My experience is that the throttle response and the throttle jerkiness is more or less completely gone. And also you have a lot more mid-range power. So where you actually ride the bike. So for 3000 to 7000 RPMs, somewhere there, you can really feel the difference, how the bike behaves. So it's a really happy engine. It's more playful. It's really hard to describe how something feels when you ride it. But I would say what I can feel most when I jumped on, now I have had it for a while, but what I really felt in the beginning was the jerkiness of the throttle and also the mid-range power. And of course this makes the bike much more playful. So it's a really playful bike. That's the best word I can say. It's a playful bike. It just wants to be ridden hard. So I think it's a really nice upgrade. So if I was to describe it with one word, I would say it's more playful. That's the best word I can come up with right now. Now over to the pros and cons. And I've already discussed the pros, which is the sound. I think it's lovely. The playfulness of the engine. It's just a more happy bike. You can really feel it. But are there any cons? Yes, there is. And the biggest cons everyone asks me all the time is the warranty. Will the warranty be affected of the ECU Flash? And the short answer is yes, it will be affected if Yamaha finds out that it's flashed. But also it's a truth with modification, because as my Yamaha dealer said, that it won't be affected. So it depends on how the dealer handles it. That's the only conclusion I can come up with. So if you're really scared about the warranty, maybe this isn't the upgrade for you. But for me, I can't come up with a better bike to actually do the ECU Flash on, because it's very lean from the factory, and also this engine that everyone knows is super reliable. And with the ECU Flash you will actually have a better bike, because you will get more fuel and more air, so the bike behaves better, the motor feels better and will probably hold up better. So for me it's totally worth it, and I'm not worried. And as my Yamaha dealer told me, they have done this on so many bikes and they have never had an issue. The issues they have had is on the bikes that actually have an open air filter without the ECU Flash, because then the top end just melted. So I would say it's if you modify your bike in any way, just do the ECU Flash. And if you're really unlucky and something happens to your beautiful CP2 engine, you're probably insured as well. So the insurance company will take the hit on that one. So you have both the warranty and the insurance company for the bike. So use that. Are there any other cons? Well, it depends on how you see it, because I think the sound is one of the things that I really love about this full system. But if you're really particular that you want it super quiet, maybe you shouldn't go with the full system, only the slip-on. You can do the ECU Flash with just the open air filter. That's also one way to do it. But for me, this is perfect. It's just enough grunt when you really twist the throttle. It sounds amazing, like a really rally bike. But also when you're in the forest and you want to be quiet, going past someone's garden or there's horses or whatever, you can still sneak. As long as you don't rev the bike, it's quiet. I mean, it's just when you give it some throttle that it really barks. So for me, I can still sneak, and that's a big thing for me, because I really want to be able to sneak in the forest, so you don't just scare everyone that is near you. So that's my setup with the ECU Flash, the full exhaust system and the open air filter. And I really think it wakes the bike up, and this is how it should feel when it came from the factory. Drop a comment on what you think about this. I would love to hear what you think. And also, I really appreciate all the comments on the latest videos with all the upgrades I put on my T7, and also the comparison between 2025 Tenere and my 2024. So keep it up and subscribe for more. If you want to see those videos, I've left the links in the description, so go and watch them. So thanks for today, ride safe, and I will see you soon again. Bye bye. So much fun. So much fun.